Personal family drama. It's something that most of us deal with at some point in our lives, but for the most part, it stays within our personal lives. But now that the internet and social media has been out for a couple decades now, most families now contain people that grew up with this era of sharing information, which means that sometimes inter-family drama can spill out onto the internet, which is exactly what happened to Ben Hart on Twitter, who posted this video with the caption, "I wake up at 6 a.m. to find that my daughter has posted a TikTok video trashing me. She's a big social media influencer with millions of followers." Here it is.
Okay, I wake up at 6 a.m. to do some work. I get my coffee. I sit down. I open my computer. And what am I greeted with? Well, hundreds of comments calling me a deadbeat dad, a child abandoner, and all manner of other insults. So I think, what's this all about? Well, after a few minutes of investigation, I discover that my daughter, Maddie, has made a video about me. She's a screenwriter in Hollywood. She's also a big social media influencer with millions of followers. Some of her videos get millions of views. And this video has tens of millions of views. 1 million likes, 20,000 comments, 40,000 bookmarks, 30,000 reposts. It's just insane. So I thought I'd better watch this video. And frankly, I was pretty chagrined by what I heard, to say the least. But honestly, the more I watch this video, the more I like it. Well, I like about 98% of it. However, I do need to correct a few statements in the video. But first, let's just watch Maddie's 90-second video, and then I'll give you my comments.
What's a piece of trauma that you have that's funny? It has to actually be funny. I'll go first. My dad abandoned my family when I was 5 years old. That is a wife and 4 kids. He abandoned us and then pursued amateur breakdancing.
Some more context is needed here. Needless to say, I will talk about this in a moment. All right, let's continue with the video.
And he got really good. He blew up. He became a D-list celebrity status, viral breakdancer. He became the oldest actively competing breakdancer in the world. Then he got on Good Morning America and talk shows, and Washington Post wrote about him, and he went super viral, and he did all these interviews, and he danced with Paula Abdul. And here, I'll show you.
Take a look at this 60-year-old breakdancer. Yes, 60 years old. Amazing. That's Ben Hart. He's competing at a breakdancing competition in Philadelphia, and he may not have won, but I tell you what, he is winning over a lot of people on the internet. Yes. He really is. Yep, he's winning over a lot of people on the internet.
This guy wouldn't pay my medical bills.
That is not true. More on that in a minute.
The worst part, damn it, he's good. He should not be able to move his body like that. It's impossible. It's beautiful. Hey, Dad.
Thank you, Maddie.
There was no split custody or anything. He just left 4 kids to do that. He may not have paid for some of my medical bills growing up, but he did give me this breakdancing merchandise. So that's him. He's on his
That is a nice shirt.
It's his b-boy name because his name is Ben Hart. I'll get texts like this, "Happy birthday?" ? And then links to his breakdancing video.
That's true.
If you have funny trauma, actual funny haha trauma, I need to hear it. Thank you.
Okay, in many ways I love this video. And of course, I love my daughter Maddie. And we get along great. At least I think we do. But a few corrections are in order, or at least a few things that need to be put in context. First, I can see that as a 5-year-old, Maddie would see her dad as having abandoned the family. One day I was living there, the next day I wasn't. And that will look like abandonment to a child. But married couples do get divorced about half the time in America. And I was just living a mile or so down the street in LaGrange, Illinois. We just weren't living under the same roof. Now, about not paying medical bills, that's just not correct. Here was the financial arrangement of the divorce. Maddie's mom, my ex-wife, got $2 million at the get-go, out of the gate, a lump sum payment. Plus, I was paying her $18,000 per month in child support and alimony. This was later reduced to $12,000 per month. And of course, I paid health insurance and out-of-pocket medical costs. I also put $600,000 into the kids' college fund. In all, I paid out about $5 million to my ex-wife to cover costs for her and the kids. And this is in 2005 dollars. So add 50% to account for inflation. In other words, I was not a deadbeat dad at all. And by the way, Maddie did not say that in her video, but a lot of the comments assume that and say that. Now, of course, there was no way for Maddie to know how much I was paying because she was a kid. This wasn't something I talked about. Also, remember that I was living 1 mile down the road from the kids in LaGrange, Illinois. Sidewalks all the way. An easy walk or bike ride. I saw the kids all the time. No abandonment, just a divorce. Was I at fault in the divorce? Yeah, I would say I was about 70% at fault. I own that. Maddie's mom and I were really not compatible in many ways. We were compatible in some ways, but not in other ways. Do I regret marrying Maddie's mom? No, absolutely not. If I had not married Maddie's mom, Maddie and her 3 siblings would not have been born. They would not have existed. The kids have turned out great. Maddie graduated from Northwestern University and is a screenwriter in Hollywood. Maddie's older sister Tori is a partner at a hedge fund on Wall Street, and she's getting rich. Maddie's younger sister Olivia just graduated from college and is teaching English to first graders in Thailand. Her older brother Peter is getting a master's degree in psychology. I get along great with all my kids, including Maddie. At least I think I do. So the kids are doing just fine despite Dad's many shortcomings. One other slight correction, which I hesitate to even bring up because I love the way Maddie did this in her video. I did not abandon the family for breakdancing. I have a career. I'm in the advertising business, built an ad agency. That's how I was able to afford to pay Maddie's mom $5 million. Maddie's mom and I separated in 2004 and divorced in 2005. I took up breakdancing entirely by accident in 2012 as a way to get in shape at the age of 54. I then just kept doing it. I'm now age 66. Now some of you might be wondering, can he still breakdance at age 66? Well, I don't know. Let's see. I'll give it a try.
Okay, Maddie, let's see how the old man does. The main point is that it's never too late to start breakdancing. I started when I was age 54. I'm now age 66. So there's really no excuse for anyone not to be breakdancing.
So the bottom line is this. At first, I really did not like Maddie's video at all. But I was biased by all the negative comments that I was greeted with at 6 a.m. in the morning in my social media feed. But the more I watch the video, the more I like it. And her video certainly is true from her perspective, even though a few details are off, no doubt because of what she heard from her mom. And I do think it's a great storyline that a 54-year-old dude left his family to pursue breakdancing, even if not quite true, factually. But perhaps it speaks to a bigger truth, a truth that is really truer than the actual facts of the matter. This could be a very funny movie plot. So maybe Maddie will make this movie about her 66-year-old breakdancing dad.
Elon Musk responds to Ben by saying, "You are awesome," to which Ben responds, "Thank you, Elon. I'm a huge fan of you. Hashtag Tesla and Bitcoin are my 2 biggest investments." Fuzzy Warbles says, "I somehow saw Maddie's video. Catchy headline. Finding out that the guy painted as a deadbeat is actually a smart entrepreneur who provided abundantly to his family, and an absolute based Bitcoiner is amazing." Ben then responds with a heart cat gif. Axel Design says, "Dude just made my night. Love the positive energy and the wholesomeness here. Wish you a great life life, good sir. Ben responds, thank you. Angela says, I can see why your daughter doesn't like you. The Bandalorian says, laughing my fucking ass off at all the horrible fathers coming in your replies to give you props. A normal dad with a healthier relationship probably would have just called his kid and tried to fix his relationship instead of posting a 10-minute video in a clown shirt with breakdancing intermixed. Alabama Friend says, Maddie not gonna have a job because AI is already making screenwriters irrelevant. Ben responds, I don't think AI will replace the best writers. No way to replace Hemingway, etc. But you'll have to be good. KB Goldtooth quote tweets Ben's video and says, I find it sweet how she clearly inherited his gregarious and unscrupulous narcissism, and this is what low-key bonds them. NB Gotti Nisiki responds, they could have conquered the world together, to which KB responds, yeah, they kinda just did. Both halves in content. Siren Spear says, oh man, brilliant. Exactly what I've been trying to say since I saw this video. Jay Aubrey reacts to the video by saying, this guy wearing a fucking Bitcoin shirt tells me everything I need to know. My Mouth Dreams responds by saying, I love how he glosses over he didn't know his daughter's birthday. Chaya Rashik says, this is the most epic video you will watch all week. Watch till the end. Ian Miles Chung responds, yeah, it's pretty good. Chaya responds, entrancing. Ali Beth Stuckey responds to Ben's video by saying, really? We're cheering this guy on? He left his wife and young children, and is now making a video mocking his daughter, who was abandoned by him when she was 5. He expresses no regret over that. He's a narcissist. Gross. Christina Pushaw says, in my opinion, it's always a bad look to air family drama on social media no matter who is right and who is wrong. Amanda quote tweets Ben's video by showing another video of Ben breakdancing and says, there is a mental health crisis in this country, and I'm not even being cute. Frank responds by saying, my only comment is that having gone through a divorce, not my choice, I gladly pay a substantial amount of child support. To minimize trauma, I would never disparage her in front of the kids, even when she is not using the money for their needs. Amanda responds, yeah. And on top of that, child support has nothing to do with remembering your kid's birthday, so I have no idea why his defenders keep bringing it up. Skittle Britches responds by saying, my hub and I have a blended family of 4 kids. One doesn't care for me and does what Maddie does. And I would never do what this dad's done. Maddie may be seeing things wrong, but no parent should try to embarrass their own kid. I hope this family works through their dysfunction. Amanda responds, it's definitely a good idea to not leave your kids behind. Marry a new wife and move to Florida, lol. So that's good. Critical Event says, if you put your thumb over the Bitcoin logos, this guy is pretty likable. Amanda responds, I don't see that at all. Aubrey Huff responds to Ben's video by saying, yet another deadbeat dad who's provided for his family, only to be destroyed by an entitled, spiteful, bitter, and vindictive ex-wife who has no problem playing the victim while taking advantage of a rigged system that makes her instant wealthy, independent, brave, and strong woman, whose courage and love for her children helped her survive such abuse from a selfish, evil, crazy, lazy, broke, and unsupportive man who chose to abandon his family in order to chase his breakdancing dream. Okay. The Black Truther responds, and he was such a good sport about it too. Shame on her. Vituperati-verb. People really need to get better usernames on Twitter. But regardless, this person quote tweets Ben's video and says, I'm going to be honest that doing a video about how your daughter is a lying bitch might not move the needle as much as you were hoping on the deadbeat dad thing. This was like a bat signal for dudes who refer to their ex as that bitch. Darby responds by saying, when your daughter, who was 5, lived right down the street and doesn't understand the context of divorce, says you abandoned her, I'm inclined to believe her. Bro probably insists she could have come over or made the effort when he was the adult who was too lazy. Vituperative responds, right? It is your job as a parent to make sure your kid doesn't think you abandoned them. Plessy Viter Vugerson responds by saying, great fathers stick together, showing the interaction Ben had with Elon Musk under his post. And then Vituperative responds by saying, I almost fell over, lol. Betsy says, him reading his children's accomplishments off a screen is hilarious. Vituperative responds by saying, at no time during these 9 minutes does he appear to have any pride or joy in any of his offspring. Kelly Weaver says, I especially love the transition from showing a text proving he doesn't even know her birthday to, I paid her mom $5 million in child support. Vituper responds, I am also going to say that guy who keeps a resentful running total of child support owed and deadbeat dad are categories that overlap. It's Garrett says, the I'm not a deadbeat dad, I gave your mom a lot of money argument is proof he's a deadbeat dad. Vituper responds, right? I'll take things a deadbeat dad would say for $500 100, Alex. Mirror Vinny responds to Ben by saying, what your adult children think of you is the true great equalizer in this world. You can provide your progeny all the luxuries and opportunities in the world. You will never have their admiration or respect if you don't deserve it. Hannah Jones quote tweets Ben and says, every dad who has ever abandoned his family has a story from his perspective where he didn't, and a new wife who thinks the kids are crazy because the ex is poisoning their opinion of him. Even his fake lighthearted cadence gave me deja vu. Dave quote tweets Ben and says, I wanted to know how this guy got rich, and I found an article from 1984 about how he wrote something so racist in a Dartmouth student newspaper that a guy came up and bit him. He then shows an article from November 12th, 1984 on the Washington Post, which might be one of the oldest pieces of news that I've ever read, but regardless, the article is titled Chronicles of a Conservative, Ben Hart and his fierce fight in behalf of the Dartmouth Review. College official bites Dartmouth student was the gist of the news stories describing the incident. He bit me right here, says Dartmouth graduate Benjamin Hart, 25, putting aside his Kung Pao chicken. He pats the right side of his chest, where the Associate Alumni Fund director left his mark. You could definitely tell it was a human bite. It hurt. He laughs. It hurt a lot. He had me in a headlock with my neck under his armpit, recalls Samuel Smith, 55, speaking by phone from Dartmouth's Hanover NH campus. The pain of the headlock was increasing, so I bit him. When I got to the emergency room, I was black and blue from head to toe, and I lost my 3 lower incisors. In the next image, he highlights this part of the article that says, the Review, whose Latin motto means, no one chooses my path with impunity, had been raising the collective blood pressure on campus with its broadsides at faculty and administrators, homosexuals, feminists, nuclear freeze supporters, and affirmative action advocates. This show ain't no jive, bro, ran a headline over one column written in dialect. Today the administration be slashing dem free welfare lunches for us post students, the column said. How we post to gettin' our GPAs up when we don't be having no food. In the end, Smith, who's black, received a court-imposed fine and probation for biting Hart, a week's suspension from school, and 3 false teeth. The Review received a formal censure from the faculty, and Hart, the son of conservative columnist Jeffrey Hart, a Dartmouth English professor, received a tetanus shot. It was just another battle in what Ben Hart calls the war of ideas. Now, going back to 2024, where we're not nearly as racist, because holy shit, what the fuck did I just read? Chair reacts to it by saying, yeah, this is the kind of guy it seems like he would be. Alexander Popemobile says, I questioned the description, walked up to him and bit him. According to the article, it sounds like he got in a fight with the admin, and the bite was in self-defense. Marmot responds to Ben's video by saying, wow, this is the TikTok girl that trads are flaunting over when she made a video about how feminism left her body when a conservative date gave her his credit card. My neurons are sizzling. Addie Mac responds to Marmot by saying, content baiting daughter, Bitcoin t-shirt wearing father, that's beautiful. Dream School Sec says, yeah, he is such an obvious huckster. I just believe her more. He's literally a professional liar. I'm sure her side is true as per her point of view, which is basically what he admits. His self-obsession lately made the kids think he had abandoned them. Marmot responds, woman moment. Neil Frick says, if you find out about your daughter trashing you via TikTok, you suck. Marmot responds, extraordinary. And the TikTok Marmot was referencing is this one that got reposted by Catch-Up Feed on Twitter with the caption, girl goes on a date with a masculine man and it erases all of her woke programming.
Guys, I went on a date this week and I felt the feminism leaving my body. I live on the east side of LA, and if you don't know what that means, it's sort of like the artsier part of LA, you know? It's people say it's like Brooklyn and New York. Like, so I go on dates with a lot of men and women who, you know, live over here. There's always a negotiation about who pays, and that's great. I like to pay for people, all that. But what I will say is that I sort of fell into going on a date with the most guy's guy I've ever been on a date with. And he's from West, you know, Santa Monica. He's a bro, right? A guy's guy is usually not my type. Like, I cannot remember the last time that I went on a date with like a straight bros bro, you know what I'm saying? But it befell me. It befell me in an organic fashion. So I'm on this date with this guy, and the thing about a guy's guy is he's putting his card down. He's paying for everything. And I really it sort of activated something feral in me, I'm not gonna lie. We went to like another bar and he was gonna go to the bathroom, so I was getting prepared to pay for our drinks because he's been paying all night. Of course I'm gonna pay for the next round, but as he's going to leave for the bathroom, he turns to me and he hands me his credit card and he goes, here's my card, get us whatever. It might be time for me to get away from all these, liberal snowflakes on the east side.
Anyways, getting back to the replies to Ben's video, HelloWearTurf responds to it by saying, "It's so obvious he was giddy when he saw his daughter's video because it gave him a spotlight to show off his bad breakdancing again. He has a really disingenuous way of speaking, and is decked out in bit-themed clothing to clap back at his young daughter whose birthday he doesn't know. If you can't see that something is up here, it's because you would rather side with a man who barely knows his kids than a woman who is understandably hurt by her father's abandonment. Child support doesn't make you a dad." This is such an embarrassing video, and it's insane that we live in a world where men aren't ashamed to act like this. 27% of fathers fully abandon their children following a divorce. If you think her story is insane, you are completely delulu. This man is so clearly obsessed with attention from strangers and lives off their praise. The ego here is out of control. So many men in the comments saying, "What's the problem? He gave them money?" are the same ones who whine that men are treated like wallets. Men aren't treated like wallets. Men act like wallets and hate having to do anything beyond paying bills when it comes to their children. Your children want an actual relationship with you. Paying bills alone doesn't make you a parent. Enough! So many of you just have no business having kids. It's sickening. My mom wouldn't make a video about it, but she would absolutely go around crying and telling everyone I'm a horrible, ungrateful child if I told anyone she abandoned me in a time of dire need. Plain old boomer/Gen X narcissism. Some of you are seriously a soft touch. How are you still falling for this shit? Will responds by saying, "If your daughter says you abandoned her and you don't call her and instead release a video, I think that closes the case. Dude is a narcissist." HelloWearTurf responds, "Yes!" Zach Easter says, "But I paid your mom alimony" is so weak. Also, his video acknowledges the core accusation. She said he abandoned us to be a breakdancer, and his response was, "No, I abandoned you, then later became a breakdancer." Come on, man. HelloWearTurf then posts some of the responses Maddie made to her father on TikTok, where she says, "Also, to clarify the obvious, he simply did not give us $5 million. That was a lie. That being said, the worst part of it is that he left us. Obviously. Him saying I have millions of followers in this video when I have 70k should give you an idea of how he exaggerates." Zoe Rose Bryant also shared Maddie's TikTok response on her Twitter as a quote tweet to Ben with the caption, "This story is so insane, but Maddie, the daughter, is actually a really good friend of mine." So here's her response to all of this.
I'm recording a quick response to all this. I'll probably delete this in the morning because I don't actually have bad will. I posted my video because it's a very funny story. It's very silly. I like to laugh at my trauma instead of being super sad about it. But I know my dad posted a 10-minute video or whatever being my daughter's lying. We have a great relationship. I have a great relationship with all my kids. That's just objectively not true. Guys, we're all freaking out about this in my family group chat right now. We're being he's so unhinged and delusional. We don't know if he actually believes his own narrative or if he's lying on purpose, but he's just a weird guy. Yeah, he said he lived down the street from us. That's not true. Or if he did, it was only for a few months maybe, but actually for most of my childhood, he lived in Florida with his new wife. Basically, I don't want to get into this. Again, my video was basically sanitizing the situation and poking fun at the lightest parts of that childhood trauma. But obviously in real life, it was a lot more complicated and traumatic, and it was really hard. He left us, immediately married another woman. We didn't hear from him for years. And then he would visit every few months and we'd go out to dinner. But he truly had no hand in raising us at all. We don't speak with any sort of regularity. He doesn't know when my birthday is. As you guys saw in the video I posted, he got it wrong. He gave us some money growing up. I honestly don't know the nitty gritty of the financial situation. I really, really don't. But I do know that several times I've asked him for financial help with medical expenses, especially in college, and he wouldn't help me. So that's what I was referring to in my video when I was he wouldn't pay some of my medical bills. I'll probably delete this in the morning, but I'm, 2 hard kombuchas in, and so I feel the need to kind of defend me and my family's POV. Bottom line is this guy was a completely absent father. He's I was just a bike ride away from those kids, and it's not once did any of us ever take a bike ride to his house. I don't think I've ever been in his house ever. So this whole thing is so bizarre. I'm so surprised that he responded to my video because I'm just damn, I could have actually made you seem way worse than I made you seem. In my video, I just made you seem such a whimsical, funny guy. But in real life, it was actually a lot darker. So I'm so surprised that he responded to it. And it's obviously kind of hurtful and weird. But again, we don't really have a relationship. So
at the end of the day, it doesn't have a huge effect on me. It's just kind of a bummer for my family. And we're all kind of looking at this and looking at his response, and we're just like, this is crazy. If this is actually his narrative, it's like delusional.
I'm gonna say one more thing about the breakdancing dad saga. This is not a clapback video. This is not beef. It's something that I have loved that people are not talking about, is that there's a sort of Mandela effect happening in the collective consciousness of the internet right now. In his original video and like in his tweet, my dad had posted being like, my daughter is a famous influencer. She has millions of followers. She's a big social media influencer. And now everybody thinks that that's true. Like nobody fact checked that. Like nobody, like everyone's rolling with it. Like every news source, every tweet. Like I'm a small creator. I'm not even monetizing my account yet because I'm too small. I have 70,000. Like love you guys, but like I definitely don't have millions. And all over his like social media, he's like, my daughter, she's a successful Hollywood screenwriter at Netflix. Don't know where he got any of that. Obviously, I've told him in the past that I am an assistant. Would love that though. Like he's manifesting that for me. But now like everybody's just like talking like that's the truth. Like Candace Owens just posted a whole like long podcast being like, I'll show you guys.
There was a young woman, her name is Maddie. She is 24 years old, and she decided to go on to, yep, you guessed it, TikTok to dump some trauma about her childhood. Now, to be clear, Maddie's got millions of followers on TikTok.
Did nobody fact check? Did she not? Did nobody do research into this? It's like everybody is, even the people who hate me are like manifesting great success for me. Unhinged and delusional Hollywood screenwriter, spars with breakdancing dad, Hollywood screenwriter. Okay, it's not giving assistant anymore. This is some Republican article. Maddie Hart, a California-based comedian with a huge TikTok following. Woo! You guys need to understand this is a huge step up because when I went viral and ended up on Fox News, everybody was calling me a self-proclaimed comedian. So now it's like the tides are shifting. TikTok star. Okay, and this article hates me, but honey, they're calling me a star. Anyway, you slice it, whether you like me, whether you hate me, whether you think I'm lying, whether you think my dad's lying. Maddie Hart, big, famous girl, famous, rich, famous Hollywood writers. Millions of fans.
And that's about it for this little family beef story so far. Super crazy that this ended up happening and going viral just from some girl with a moderate following on TikTok venting a little bit about her family's past. But here we are. I hope you enjoyed listening to this. Let me know in the comment section if you were Team Maddie or Team Ben. I will also leave both Maddie's TikTok and Ben's Twitter in the description so you can pick a side by following either of them or both of them and seeing what else they say. They seem like eccentric people. So if you don't want to miss that or any other future drama on Twitter, be sure to subscribe to this channel with notifications on. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.